Good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or a yes there. Just let me know it's working. Hope everybody's having a fantastic morning so far. Um, Hopefully your trading's been going okay. I had a couple of trades last night, little rough on a few. We'll recap some of those swing trades. I mean, they haven't closed out yet, but I am down on a couple of trades, and so we'll look at those. But obviously, first things first, we gotta go over the disclaimer, and we need to get into our bankers close trade. So let's do that first. As always, I need to remind you guys about the risks involved in the market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. So make sure that you're going through that process each and every time that you take a trade. All right, guys. So let me pull up. Sorry, I'm pulling up my profile with the scanner and everything on it real quick. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted London overview. Okay, perfect. And let's go take a look at the news for today, making sure we're all on the same page as far as news goes. Okay, so this morning we just had some dollar news. Fed chair is speaking later this afternoon. So mainly I think we just stay away from the dollar, but even then that's probably fine. But yeah, looks good. So here's the scanner. Let's take a look at each one of these. Oops, wrong pair. Where is, oh, this is funny. Normally I have, okay, I'll just do this. So the euro franc should be here. Oh, wait. This is funny. Let me see if I can do that. Okay. And then euro pound here. And then the pound franc should be here. Let me see if that worked. No. Okay, whatever. Okay, pound franc is going down right now. Let's see, anything euro pound's not in a signal. Let's take a look at this pound franc. It's coming down quite a bit quickly. Let me look at, I like to check this out on TradingView before I take the trade. I just want to make sure it's what I want to do. Okay. All right, so here is the pound franc. It is pulling back into kind of a support region, and that would be a supply box right there, or demand box. And then this is a really good one right here. I could see the market coming into any one of these, honestly, and then turning around. So it kind of broke into this one pretty hard. That's fine. Let's see. So it most likely would come down to this next box and then come up. That's still like 60 pips away. Let me see if there's some alternatives, because I don't want to have to draw down 60 pips before I get my trade that I want. Let me do my 5-minute chart. Let me add my bands. Yeah, if I can avoid it, I don't want to draw down that far. That's quite the drawdown. Okay, here's Aussie Frank. This guy has a supply box, a really good one right here. So if this guy keeps coming down, you could be looking at only 20 pip drawdown. That's not terrible. And then you'd get your move. Okay, I might come back to that one. This whole thing's in the supply box on a higher time frame. No, I'm going to ignore that one. That's in a sell box right there. That's interesting. Wow, that is all over the place. I'm not going to touch that one. Euro Kiwi, when's the next? This thing could come all the way down to here. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Um, hmm. This one's actually, this pound Aussie is coming into kind of a support area. That might be a good one. Um, think about that one. I'm trying to find one that I feel really good about. Because if I can find one that I feel really good about, then I can put a bigger contract size on it, and I can just go from there. Here's that pound franc. I guess technically this whole thing, yeah, these are all supply zones or demand zones, excuse me. But my big concern is that it could go another like 55 pips against us before it goes in our favor. Technically, I don't know, even just that right there. So that's my concern with that one. Um, I'm gonna say this honestly, this Aussie Frank looks the best to me because this demand box is the most convincing and it's only 20 pips away. So I feel really good about that one. So I'm going to go ahead and build my position on the Aussie Frank. Um, we've done this one before, like a couple weeks ago. That's what we used for the Bankers Close trade. All right, and I'm just going to build my starter position. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to add some over here too. All right, and then also after I have my starter trade in, what I want to do is oh, I need to move this out a little bit. So for me, what I'm looking at is I'm saying, hey, okay, we're at the end of the day, we're just to kind of recap for anybody live and in the recording. So the concept here is we're at the end of the trading day. London market closes in 50 minutes, right? And typically the markets will kind of find an equilibrium price to end the day, whatever that is. And some things you can look at to kind of determine whether the market's kind of found its equilibrium price is, yeah, you look at the Bollinger Bands. Is the market breaking to the downside or the upside of a Bollinger Band? Because often the market will return back to the mid Bollinger Band or even go to the other side of the Bollinger Band if it's at kind of an extreme at the end of the day. And we were just a moment ago, we've already come up a little bit, but a moment ago we were just at the lower Bollinger Band. And so the concept is, okay, let's ride this up a little bit. And then for me, I look at other things too. Like I don't want to just say, okay, let's just buy this. We want to make sure we trade something that doesn't have a lot of news that's happened in the last, like, say, 12 hours and news that's coming within the next 12 hours. This pair does not really have anything on the docket. So this pair is good. And so what that usually means for us is we can find currency pairs that have less volatility and are less likely to kind of do something unexpected. So we want kind of a little bit of a slower moving pair, to be honest. Um, and then the other thing I'm looking for, and this is why it took me a little bit longer to find a trade, is I'm looking for stuff that if it goes against us, if it keeps going in a direction that's not favorable to us, how far does this thing have to go, or how far will this thing go before I can get some help, right? Because there's a lot of currency pairs that are moving down quickly or moving up quickly, and those moves are justified. And we don't want to get caught in a move like that, right? So what I do is I'm looking for, okay, hey, this is a little bit of an order block here. You know, you got another one right here. And when you pull these over, um, you know, you're going to find help at these different levels. So in fact, I'd almost like the market to come down and hit some of these levels, because if it does, I have a really good chance at getting a move back to the upside, right? So that's what I'm basically doing with the banker's close. So I'm going to go ahead and place some buy limits now that I've got my analysis in. So down all the way to basically the end of my blocks that I've drawn out is how far I'm willing to work with this market. And you know, if the market wants to come down there and tag us into those trades, that's just fine. And that would be it right there. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of put everything in this one spot down here. It's below these blocks, but yeah, so basically if the market breaks through those blocks that I drew out, we probably shouldn't be in this trade at that point. So that's where the stops go. For now, excuse me, sorry, I got a cough, 1 second. For now, um, um, yeah, we can leave the trades on as they are. Like it's kind of like on an autopilot mode. Like what's cool about this trade is, yeah, you do have to be here when the opportunity is available. Like right now, this is when that phenomenon takes place. Yeah, you do have to be here, but you could literally walk away from the computer once your stop losses are in and you've got several orders inside. You know, obviously we're willing to buy as far as down to this level down here. So yeah, if it keeps coming down, down into here, we're willing to buy. And then once it's done coming into here, you know, it starts coming back up, we can profit out and take our money. Um, and yeah, you could walk away from the computer. If you had some work you had to do, you could do that. Um, you had to run to the store, you could. Like at this point, you're at a really good spot with the trade. Um, so yeah. We'll probably move our targets when we get a little closer to the end of the webinar. Like we'll adjust those a little bit. Except I think I will bring a few, like if this market does break up all of a sudden, I would like to profit out perhaps several trades in this area right here. That's kind of where the next block would be if the market came up. And so yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking is, hey, I'd like to profit out kind of in there. And we'll see what happens, because it could certainly, you know, continue lower, which is fine, because again, if it wanted to come lower, it would just come into our blocks essentially. And that's okay. That is perfectly fine. Okay, so let's see, what do we want to do now? So we should probably recap. Let's recap some of our other trades that we have going on here. So I've got 3 different swing trades that I'm in right now and a pending order that just hasn't triggered. But let's talk about each one of these. Aussie yen is the one that's most down right now. I think it's partly because I have the biggest lot size on it, but I am down 2K on this trade. Um, and this is a trade that we took a couple days ago. It was in and out of the money, mostly in the money yesterday. Like I was up at one point over 2 grand on this trade. And now I'm down 2 grand on this trade. It's about 40% of the way to its stop loss. So yeah, it could get there. We'll see what happens. But I'm still confident in this trade. So basically, I'm just looking for the market to, we talked about this the other day, so I don't need to go over a ton, but basically this thing's making lower lows, lower highs. It even agrees with the COT report. For those of you that trade with the COT report, like this trade makes sense with COT report data to short right now. So a sell. And let's see what else I was going to say about this trade, particularly. And then, yeah, the other thing too is if you look at the trading view chart for the Aussie yen, um, there's actually a ton of order blocks up here on the hourly. Let's go back to the hourly. Like a ton of order blocks up here that I believe would keep this market from breaking higher. So a lot of people have interest in selling this right now. I do believe that those traders who are selling will get their way eventually. Um, it is a swing trade, does take several days, sometimes weeks to play out. So you just kind of have to let it do its thing. Once you pick your loss, once you pick your lot size on what you're going to trade and how much you're going to trade, that should be done by now. And so if it hits its stop loss, it should be okay. I do get a lot of new traders, and it's okay. It's just stuff I need to help them with, where a swing trade goes against them 10 pips, and they freak out and get out of the trade. Um, on a swing trade, guys, 10 pips is nothing, right? Like same thing when you're in the profit. The other part's true too. Just because you're in the profit 10 pips on a swing trade does not mean you should close the trade, because what I see happening a lot is either you close out your loser way too quickly on some of these swing trades, and then that's actually not even the biggest problem. The biggest problem I see is when people close out um, their winning trade, very, very early. You make 10 pips on a swing trade and you're like, oh man, I'm up $10. I don't want to lose this, so I better close. And then you come out, the next day and we've made 100 pips or 200 pips on a trade, that same trade that you made 10 pips on. And that's okay. It's part of the losing experience, or not losing. Well, I guess it is kind of a losing experience, but it's what happens when you're a new trader. Like I'm totally guilty of it too. Um, excuse me. So I think it's really important to learn to hold on to your winners, hold on to your losers, let the trade go through fruition. All right. So anyway, that's why I'm in this trade, is a lot of order blocks up here pushing this down still. So, now I'm down 1,800. I was down 2,000 just a second ago. So, you could actually add to the trade. I'm not going to, because most of the risk that I allocated, the money I was willing to risk on this trade, I've already put into this position. So I'm not willing to add to it. I'm just willing to hold it, not close it early. I'm fine to hang on to it, but I don't want to, I don't want to let it, I don't want to close it just yet either. So I'm going to just keep it. The other trade, and this one actually looks pretty good, like considering that this Aussie yen has gone up. Um, this Aussie Kiwi short is actually looking pretty good considering it's down 200 bucks right now, which is hardly anything on this lot size. I've got 6 contracts on here. Most of that's been helpful in the last hour. When I took this trade, it's funny, I took it down here and I immediately went into a drawdown, right? Minus 33 pips. Now I'm only down 5 pips or 4 pips now, as you can see here. And this trade, basically same concept, lots of order blocks, pushing this lower, caught report, reinforcement. Oh, okay, let me actually, this one I feel really good about. Let me show you this. So on this Aussie Kiwi, I move these bands. There's several order blocks pushing this lower, but here's where I like it the most. Here's what I like the most. So I have drawn out, let me remove the indicator. So here's my order blocks, the ones in purple on the hourly chart. So if you go back in time, you can see why I drew these blocks out right here. So I have this block right here, very obvious block, right? Because whatever happened here is what created the break of structure is whatever happened here, right? So that's an obvious block. Same thing here. Like this is another little block down here. A little consolidation and then subsequent breakout that also broke another structure level. So we've got 2 different blocks down here that are pretty solid. Back in March, this market touched that block one time. Let's see, has it touched it again? Not until now. So here we are in November. It came into the block, it did what you would expect, right? It came into the block and then rejected off the block, right? And then it actually touched it again, rejected the block and came up. But each time this market has touched the block, it hasn't gone up very far, to be honest. It's been a little bit underwhelming. These are things I want you guys to pay attention to because this is how you will find like spectacular trades, okay? So although, yes, the market came to the block and respected it to some extent, it wasn't like this market just turned around and went straight up for forever and beyond, right? What it did is it's like, oh, touch and fail, touch and fail, right? And then, so that's what here. So when you see that, what that means, I hope you guys are on the same page with me on this, is this thing's coming down, right? Because it yes, it's respected the block so far, but I would not expect this market to respect the block much longer. Okay. Like I really wouldn't. Um, so I am absolutely gearing up for another move lower here. And this move lower should take you directly to the next block, which is right here. And that's where my target is, right? I've got to take profit right at the next block here on this trade. And it's about 100 pip gain. So we should make about 100 pips on this trade when all is said and done. And this one's starting to improve quite a bit, even though it was down. We had some drawdowns last night, but those drawdowns have been and are continuing to improve. So, you know, give it time, right? Especially this trade, I'm really excited about. This one's the closest to being in the money here. And when it finally does break, it should just stay in profit for the rest of the duration of the trade, which is awesome. But yeah, here you go. This is it right here. Market touched an order block that was pretty significant that hadn't been touched since March. Obviously, got a nice little rejection off of it. Lasted about 60 pips, 70 pips. Came down, touched it again. Tried harder, didn't work. And now the market is, I think, in trouble. I think the market's in trouble here. It's at risk of pushing lower. Um, and I think we've got this one by the tail, to be honest. just because I've seen this happen multiple times where an order block hits, and if an order block is really going to hold, the market's just going to beeline to the upside. It's just going to go straight up and not come back down for a long time. That's not happening, guys. That is not happening here. So I think it's almost reassured at this point. It's almost assured that this market will at some point make its run to the downside. So I'm pretty excited about this one. We'll let it do its thing. The Aussie yen should follow suit. It should. I have been a little surprised that it has come up even to here. Our stop loss is hanging out, I think, somewhere up there. So, we'll see what that one does, but hopefully this one comes down. Okay, and then the last trade we have to recap, this swing trade, is this Aussie CAD. And to be honest, this one was a little bit of a hedge of some of the things we did last night. So it's kind of ironic that it's down. It's not down a lot, but it is down, right? And yeah, again, it was kind of a hedge against some of these other trades that we're taking. But I had reason to be in this trade too. So let's take a look at it. Here's the Aussie CAD. Okay, so here's what I like about this guy. There is a lot of, there is a huge push to send this guy even higher. Okay, the Aussie CAD. Out of all the Aussie currency pairs, this is like the only one I'm like, okay, this one's going to keep going up. And it's mainly because of the CAD. It's because of the weakness of the CAD that's causing this to go higher, not so much the power of the Aussie. It's more weakness of CAD. But nonetheless, this pair is being a recipient of that huge move. So yeah, it's been on a huge move to the upside. So has the NZD CAD. It's not a trade that we're in, but it's very similar to it. Like just huge rip and roar to the upside, perhaps more this one than the other. But huge moves to the upside. Now, the reason why I liked this one is because when you do your order block analysis on the hourly chart here, you go back in time to see when was the last time the market was at these prices. Obviously it touched it right here. There's no order blocks though to really pay attention to. Kind of touched it in here. We're at an old resistance. But truly, the next order blocks are like right here and right here. And you can zoom in and see why I drew these out. You can see this kind of consolidation that formed and then gave way right here, just gave way, right? That's absolutely an order block. You have to pay attention to that, right? Nice consolidation, forms a support there, and then it just gives way. Okay, that's a block. Same thing right here. Nice consolidation in here, and then just kind of gives way, right? So this whole purple area would be a great selling area, in my opinion. I think you could sell if the market came back up into anywhere up here. It would be a fantastic selling area. In the meantime, though, this market is, every time in the past it came up to these levels, up to here, it immediately came up and immediately came down. Immediately came up, immediately came down. This one seems to be holding so far. Like if you come back and look at today's market, it came up, came down a little, came up again, came down a little, but now it's just staying up there, right? Which makes me believe that there's a little bit more to go. If there is more to go in this bull rally, where would it stop? Not until the next block, which is 100 pips away. So that's another reason why I'm buying this pair, is because I do believe there's another 100 pips to go before this thing comes down. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I have kind of a tighter stop. Well, not a tighter stop. I guess my stop loss is below this block right here. If you go down to like a 15-minute chart, you can see it better. this little block right here, right? Yeah, this little block right here. That's, my stop loss is below that, you know. And yeah, every time this market gets pushed lower, they're finding ways to send it higher. In fact, it came into another little block right here. You can see this one, tiny little one right there. Market came right into that one and then just boom, 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 sent right back up. That one happened like an hour or two ago. That's kind of crazy. So yeah, that's why I'm thinking I think there's more to go with this Aussie CAD. I really think if you're a seller of the Aussie CAD right now, you're probably going to get yourself in trouble because this thing's probably got another 100 pips to go before it comes down. Perhaps more because this block is kind of big. Like there's a lot of, I mean, you could argue that it could come anywhere inside here before it comes down. But that's where liquidity is. Liquidity is up here, not here. So I would be surprised if this market pulled back. I would at this point. And again, in the past, the market does have a track record of coming up to this area and pulling back. Like, last time it was here, it pulled back. Let's see, did we beat this high? Let's see, did we go above that? I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah, we did go above it, which means that it beat the liquidity that was in that high, like whatever liquidity was tied to this high up here was basically swallowed up by the most recent move. But yeah, and then let's see, how far can I go back and see if I can find, oh, this is too far. There we go. Anyway, so that's what I'm thinking is I do think this thing's going to keep going up, which is kind of, so this is the only Aussie pair that is somewhat bullish. You look at all the other pairs that are Aussie, they look pretty bearish, but you look at this Aussie Kiwi, it is just so bearish right now. Like it is just incredible. And the COT report says it. Everybody's saying it. I'm saying it. The fact that it's like coming down and playing with an order block, it's not bouncing off of it, it's just playing with it. That's not a good sign. Like it's not a good sign if you're thinking about being a buyer down here. It really isn't. That's why I really do think a move to the downside is coming. It's gonna be quite the move when it's ready. So anyway, we'll just wait for that one. And I'm looking for other trades to take, but for now, I feel like I've got a lot of really good trades. They're just taking some time to kind of navigate and do their thing. Oh, hey, look, our bankers close trade's starting to work out. Let's go take a look. Well, I guess it came down, and on Alveo here, it looks like I'm just at break even. But yeah, looks like it came down and starting to push back up here. So we'll see what happens. But it's funny because I was looking here, and yeah, I'm much more profitable on these. I'm up $20 or $30 on each trade. All my bankers close right here. Let's take a look. Dang, I didn't, but that's okay. Should have definitely had some trades to buy down here. That's okay though. All right, so we'll just kind of let the bankers close trade do its thing. Yeah, if it has another duplicate bar like it just had, like if it does this again, we should probably close out of a couple of trades, take some profits on those if it does this one more time. So maybe I'll stay over here and watch it. Yeah, basically if it pulls another one of, if it just does this one more time, something like this, we should close out of several trades. I just love how reliable the banker's close trade is. Like it really is. Like I sometimes I feel like I underestimate it because I have a lot of fun trades with these swing trades. Like every week I can usually grab a trade or two that makes $5,000-6,000 on a swing trade, like the ones we were just discussing. So I get kind of infatuated and in those, but then I sometimes forget how powerful the maker's close trade is. You don't make as much per trade, but it's just that extra income that's super awesome and so reliable. And it's fun because once you kind of have everything ready to go and set in, once you've kind of identified your levels, you can almost walk away from the trade, which is really fun. Kind of mad. There's every day when I see this, like for example, with that Aussie CAD, I look at this and I'm like, why didn't I catch that last night? Like, why didn't I put a trade right there? I totally should have. That's definitely an order block area. And look how tight these stop losses can get. You can have a stop right here, entry right here. That's a 14 pip stop loss. And then you'd be up currently on that trade 37 pips. It's just amazing. Take a look at this Aussie Kiwi. I'm just looking for shorter term order blocks, just looking for shorter term trades here. Hmm. This one came down right to here and stopped. I wonder what was down here. Sure enough, yeah, you come and look at it. This is technically a banker's candle right there. And you bring this over. I don't trade the banker's candle as much version over an order block. I like to find those regions that cause breakouts more so than a single candle, but obviously it works sometimes. Like that's just a banker's candle trade right here. Basically what you do, there's a lot of different companies that teach this. you just look for the last candle, major candle down that happens right before a major uptrend like this. And so if the market ever returns back to this area, the idea is that you'd put a buy at the top of the candle and then your stop loss at the bottom of the candle. So it's basically the same thing as an order block, but instead of a block, you're just taking a single candle. And then you fast forward to where we are. We're almost there. Sure enough, you hop into a trade right there, and then you just ride that thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it works. I just don't do those as much. All right. Okay, so the Aussie Franks just pulled back a little bit. That's fine. In fact, I may add to it in a minute, but I think for now I'm good. I've already got several trades, a couple of trades down here. So I'm going to kind of clean up and set these the way I want them so that we can just go into, basically we can just go into the end of the webinar with our banker's close trade ready to go the way we want it. So I'm going to have most of my targets just kind of through this general region right here. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. And yeah, I'm going to leave these entries on. I'm going to leave those on. So, if the market does want to come back in and revisit this block, or if it wants to come and visit this block for the first time, that's fine. I'll let the market do that. And then we'll, write it up. So yeah, this one, it's not going to close in the webinar, but when this afternoon or evening, you'll get an update from me based off of how this all played out. I'll let you know if anything needs an update, but with these targets in, these stop losses in, and these entries down here, we should be good to just let this trade do its thing. There's no news to really be worried about, so we can just let this kind of do what it wants. So I think I'm going to wrap up with that, guys. There's really not much else to do other than, hey, I've got my 3 swing trades on. And, I'll look for some more opportunities later, but I think for now, I'm just going to stick with those 3. And we'll go from there. So appreciate your attendance today, guys. Thanks for coming. We do have COT report tonight. So if you want to come to that, that'd be awesome. Check that out. We'll be doing some more swing trading type of stuff in the COT report class tonight. So I appreciate your attendance today, guys. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you in the next webinar.